This video is sponsored by Value Testers. Best tool company on the web, no one compares. Need new tools or upgrade? Think Value Testers. Link in description below. Hi guys, how you doing? It is March 12th, 2020. Gonna do a little question and answers, coffee chat type of thing. Myself some nice coffee. Works kind of slow right now. Not a lot going on. This coronavirus has got everybody scared, I think. And just that time of year, you know, it's sometimes it can be a little slow. A couple of 3 jobs a day, and ain't got nothing today. So I figured I'd, look through the question, look through the comments and some of the stuff that I get asked a lot. I'll do a little question and answer. And this way here, I could answer everybody at the same time. A lot of people watch my videos. Miss Molly's over here taking a snooze. She's my little buddy. So if you see her, I'm going to say hi to the people. She sticks to me like glue. It's my little long-haired chihuahua. I got her at 3 months old, and she'll be 2 in June. So time goes by. Take her to work with me, and yeah. She's a joy. She's been a joy having her around. She's a lot of company. Anyway, let's talk about a couple of things. I just went through the comment section and wrote down stuff that a lot of guys ask me all the time, and we'll talk about a couple of things. All right, the tags on a boiler that I install when I do a boiler service, I'll leave a tag on there. The reason I do that it's a reference and a time frame when things were done. And you could look back, if the part's under warranty, you can see on the tag when it was installed, the date, and what I did. A lot of times I will also mark on the parts the date, like if it's an expansion tank, I'll put the date on it, because things are usually warranted for 1 year, obviously. And it's good as a reference to look back and see, what was done, when it was done, when the air was purged out of the zones. It's not something that you have to do by law. It's just something that I think is a good idea, and I like to have a reference, to look back at. And so a lot of guys will come along. If someone comes along after me and they get called in after, they'll rip all my tags off and put their own tags on there to try to get the job. I don't do that. I mean, if there's tags there, I leave them. I'm not trying to scam anybody or try to steal anybody's customers. I don't really care about that. I mean, I'm there to help the customer, to do the best I can and give them a fair price, and I'm not there to try to steal customers off people. I'm just not my thing. Another question I get a lot is about the draft damper on the boiler. What's that for? Why do you need that? The draft damper between the boiler and the chimney on oil is to set up the draft over the fire on an oil boiler. So in other words, if you got 0.01 to 0.02 draft over the fire when it's running, the draft's going up slowly, that's what you want. So you would use that damper to create that draft over the fire that's got a negative draft going up slowly is what you want. So that's what that damper is for. If you got some of this, that's called a barometric damper. So a lot of times if the chimney's compromised or you don't have a good draft, you have to leave them off anyway, but that's what that's for. That's the purpose of it. Another question I get a lot is, I did a video recently, and there was a boiler down in the cellar, and the guy went down there and put his bedroom down there. You can't do that. In the code, it says you cannot have a boiler in a bedroom. The simple reason is if that boiler ever soots up or malfunctions and you're sleeping down beside the boiler, you can get choked out or breathing in all the fumes, and you're not supposed to have a boiler in the bedroom for that reason. Now, the boiler was down in the cellar. There was never a bedroom down there. It was never finished. He moved down there, into unfinished area. And that's why I had to tell the lady that you can't do that. The lady was arguing with me. I told her it wasn't legal to do that back and forth. And it's like, I guess I could call authorities in on her. But I do have it, on the paper. She signed it. She read it. I told her about it. I mean, then when you leave, they go back and do it anyway. I mean, She's got an old boiler down there. Another thing I get a lot is about the Pro Press. Oh my God, you should get a Pro Press. They're the best thing from sliced bread. I think the Pro Press has its spot and it's a good thing, but you can't use a Pro Press in every area because it's a big device. A lot of times you're up, in between floor joists or up in the joists. You can't get the Pro Press up there, and you can't be without a torch. Anybody says that you can get by with a Pro Press, you don't need a torch. They're talking out their ass and they don't know what they're talking about. You just can't get away from not having a torch. Now, for me, I got so many fittings inside the truck, 3/4, half-inch, all different varieties of stuff. For me to have a Pro Press and have all them fittings that I have with regular copper fittings, it would take up so much room and be so much money. It'd be crazy. I mean, they're a lot more money for the Pro Press fittings. I'm not bagging the device. I think it's a good device to have for certain things. But for me, working in residential houses and an old school plumber, I don't want to make the move. I mean, I don't need to. I know how to solder. There's different ways to do the soldering. When there's water in it and whatnot, and it's good to learn that stuff. I'm not bagging the Pro Press. It's got its spot, but it's not a win all to change everything. That's going to be, oh my God, you got to get a Pro Press or you're not with the times. That's bullshit. You don't need it. You can get by with the torch, and you need the torch. You can't get away from the torch. Don't listen to these guys most of these guys coming up in the trade now. They don't even know how to caulk a lead joint. They don't know how to solder. Everything's Pro Press. I mean, they're going to be compromised when it comes to stuff like that. Back in the day, when I first started, we used to do lead joints, lead and oakum the joints, in the hospitals and stuff. That's when I started. I used to love that. The smell of melted lead. There's nothing like it. Lead and oakum the joints. A lot of people ask me about a vertical joint, horizontal joint. Use a joint runner. I like to do, if I ever come across that, a lot of times it's all no hub now, but anyway, another thing I get a lot with is the oil burner nozzles. How come you change them all the time? Can you just clean the oil burner nozzle? Well, you can clean the oil burner nozzle, but if it's been in there for a year and a half, 2 years, you're better off changing it. Because what happens is, a lot of times, especially if the boiler is dirty and stuff, you get a lot of heat on that nozzle. And a lot of, it doesn't have the good draft, and you heat that nozzle up. And there's a lot of little devices and pathways in there. You're always better off cleaning the boiler and changing the nozzle. Now, I have cleaned them and left them in there, and then 6 months later, the boiler soots up. You got to go back there and take it apart, clean the boiler all out, the oil boiler, and put a new nozzle in anyway. Some guys do leave them in there. If it's a big nozzle, like 125 or bigger, a lot of times I'll leave them in there. I don't like to run anything smaller than a .75 nozzle. The .65s, the .50s, they malfunction a lot, and it's a very small passageway. I don't like them nozzles. I try to stay away from them. I like to go .75 or higher. A lot of houses I'll run .75 anyway, even if it's a bigger burner. I'll just run a 75 in there. It runs better with a smaller flame. That's, you got to kind of get a feel for things and find out what's the best thing to do. Look at Molly over there just snoozing along. This is like her favorite spot. This little dog, when she was 3 months old, I do a lot of editing videos, and I put a little bed up on my desk here, and she used to always crawl up on me at 3 months old. Now she's 2 years old, she still does the same thing. She's got a little bed up here. She's only 5 pounds. So if I'm doing editing videos and stuff, I'll leave her up here, and she's got her little food up here, and I give her snacks, and this is her spot. She never left it. So that's the reason on the oil burner nozzle. No, you shouldn't clean them. I mean, you should change them every year and a half. Clean the boiler out. Make sure you want to check. Make sure you got good draft over the fire. If you don't have good draft over the fire and it's rolling out, I mean, you're going to have all kinds of issues. It's not going to breathe right. It's not going to burn right. You have to make sure the boiler's clean. Drafting, you got to make sure it's got good oil flow. You see, I check the oil flow all the time. If I got good oil flow, I know the filters are still good. If I got wimpy flow, well, then you gotta work on changing the filters, and the oil line may be blocked. And I got a rhyme and reason for the shit I do. I've been doing it for so long. I mean, that's the why I do things, and I post these videos so people can watch and learn. Couple of videos I did, I had problems with the lighting. I mean, the lighting's been bad. A lot of these places I work are down in the basement, dingy. I should try to bring in more lighting, but a lot of times I only got a drop light with me. It's working in people's houses. But I am going to try to get more lighting and do better lighting so I can see what the hell's going on. And I will work on that. I do apologize for that. Um, Another thing that I get asked a lot is about my grinder that I use. Now, the reason I use that grinder and have the shield off it, for me, is those blades that I have are specialty blades I bought at the welding supply shop, and they're metal cutting blades, and they're not no cheap ones. I pay a lot for them blades, like $5 a piece, and they got mesh built right into them. So even if you step on that and crack it and it's got pieces broken, I could run that blade and then pieces won't fall off because of the thick mesh that's in there. So I trust those grinder blades that I have. I trust them. Like I've been doing it for 35 years. I never had one break off. Even the ones that are broken, the chips off them and they're broken, and I run it. They don't fly off. So I know that they're not going to fly off. And I have the bracket off of there, the guide off of there, because I run a bigger blade so I can get deeper cuts. Because if you run a little 4.5-inch blade, first of all, I think those are like 5-inch blades, and they won't fit with the guards on there. And a lot of times I'm using stuff, I can't have the guard on there anyway. I got to get deeper. So that's why I do that. For me, with those blades, I trust them. I never had one break off. I don't feel I need a face shield with those particular blades. Some of these blades from Home Depot or Lowe's, I mean, I wouldn't trust them without the guard. So that's another thing, another question I have. Like I said, I pay a lot for them blades. They're like $5 a piece for one, or $4.50. I mean, I buy boxes and boxes of them, and I use a lot of them. That's probably my best tool. That's pulled me out of a lot of jams, is that grinder. I mean, a lot of times on faucets, I have to cut faucets off, can't get them out. All kinds of things. I mean, I use that grinder. Probably that saved me the most is that grinder. All right, just want to do a little quick question and answer. I mean, like I said, work's been a little slow with this coronavirus. Everybody's scared, and I kind of pick and choose what I do anyway. I like to do like a lot of service and repair videos, small stuff. I get remodel calls, and I just tell people I don't want to do it. So, but anyway, that's it, guys. Miss Molly's falling asleep on me here. It's my little buddy. All right, just a quick little coffee chat, question and answers, and more videos to come.